Hi, I'm Coral Lotus. Thanks for joining me on this journey. This is a beginner-friendly flow that you can do any time of day to release, relax, and reset. To experience each pose deeper, we will hold each pose for 3 breaths, breathing in through your nose, holding the breath for a 4 count, then exhaling through your nose. This breathing pattern helps calm the mind and gets more oxygen into your blood to help the muscles relax. Let's come to a seated cross-leg pose to begin. Place your hands on your knees, keeping your back straight. Close your eyes, and with each breath, say something positive to yourself. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. After your third exhale, open your eyes and come onto your hands and knees, tabletop position. Then sit your hips back between your heels, bringing your forehead to the floor and straightening out your arms for child's pose. In this position, you can sway a little or find stillness in this moment. It's up to you. On your third exhale, come back to hands and knees to tabletop pose. Hands should be shoulder width distance apart and knees hip width distance apart. Pushing your hands into the ground, inhale as you bring your gaze up, lifting your chest. Engage your stomach muscles, drawing them towards your spine to avoid sinking and discomfort in your lower back. This is the proper position for cow pose. Exhale, still pushing your hands into the ground. Round your back, tucking your tailbone down, still drawing your stomach muscles towards the spine for cat pose. After your third exhale, you can stay in this position and rock side to side or forward and back to stretch out your wrists. When you're ready, curl your toes. Lift your knees, sending your hips up and back for downward dog. If your hamstrings or knees are feeling a little tight, tense, bend your knees slightly so that you're releasing that tension. After your third breath here, step 1 foot at a time forward in between your hands, going into a forward fold. You can use props like books, blocks, or a chair if your hands do not touch the ground, so you do not have to strain your lower back. Inhale, think of lengthening your spine, and exhale to fold at the hips. After your third exhale, inhale as you slowly stand, sweeping your arms up your side, meeting your palms above your head, then exhaling, bringing your hands back to your side. Now standing tall, bring your right foot to your left thigh, squeezing your left thigh and pushing your knee away from you for balance. This is tree pose. You can keep your hands at your heart center or bring your hands all the way back up above your head. If you need a modification, you can place your foot on your ankle or your calf. Be mindful to not place your foot against your knee to avoid any injury. Repeat on the other side. As you exhale, release your foot to the ground. Forward fold. Bend your knees, then place your hands to the ground, stepping your foot back one at a time into high plank. Squeezing your glutes and thighs, keeping your core tight, pushing into the ground to keep your hips lifted. Modify by using the edge of your bed, a chair, or a tabletop to lean against. Then, bending your elbows, lower down to hover the ground for a low plank. We'll stay here for one breath. Then on your exhale, place the tops of your feet to the ground, pushing your chest up into Cobra pose. Then pushing back up into a downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right foot, bending your right knee, squeeze your core, bring your foot forward in between your hands for a low lunge. You can modify this by standing and placing your foot on a bed, chair, or block, keeping your opposite leg straight. Another modification, you can stay on the ground and bring your back knee to the ground. You can also use blocks if your hands cannot reach the ground. Placing your knee on the ground, send your hips back, straighten out your front leg, and flex your toes. So that means your toes are pointing towards the sky. Inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, folding at the hips, reaching your hands to the side. You can use blocks underneath of your hands for modification. Come back to a low lunge and lift using your core, pushing through your heels into a high lunge, arms up, shoulders relaxed, gaze forward. Then turning your back heel down to the ground, squaring off your hips to the center, open your arms to a T for Warrior 2, looking to the right. Exhale, bringing your left hand to the back of your thigh or lower to the back of your calf, and your right arm lifting up and over to the left for a reverse warrior. Exhale and bring your right elbow to the right knee, keeping the right knee bent and the left leg straight, lifting your left arm up and over to the right for an extended side angle. Be mindful to not put all your weight into your shoulder. Engage your core to stay lifted. Open back into Warrior 2. Then turn your foot back onto your toes for a high lunge. Then bring your hands down to the ground into low lunge. Step your foot back in line with your other foot, coming into a high plank. Then pushing your hips up and back for down dog. Repeat this whole sequence on your left side. Low lunge. Remember to take a modification when you need to. Lower the knee down, send your hips back and straighten out your leg for a half split. Lifting back up into low lunge. Step your foot back into high plank and make your way to down dog. Come forward into high plank. Lower down, pushing up into cobra or upward dog. Then pushing your hips back up into down dog. Stepping your foot forward in between your hands, 1 foot at a time, for a forward fold. Then come to a standing position. From this standing position, sweeping your arms up and over your head as you inhale. Exhale as you forward fold, bending at the hips. Step your feet apart wider than hip distance for wide leg forward fold. You can modify with blocks, keeping your hands on the blocks, how many ever blocks you need. Be sure to bend at the hips to avoid lower back strain. Then, keeping your right hand down, bring your left hand straight up for a wide leg twist. Switch. Come back to center. Bend your knees for a yogi squat, pressing your elbows into your knees to keep your hips open. You can use the blocks under your sit bones for a modification. From here, straighten out your right leg, keeping your left knee bent, lowering down as far as you can go. Then switch. So now your left leg is straightened and your right knee should be bent for this low side lunge. Then bring your bottom to the ground, extend both legs out into a V for a seated wide leg forward fold. Reaching your arms forward down the middle, bring your forehead to the ground, or you can use blocks to modify. On your next inhale, start to come up slowly and wiggling your legs to bring them to a close. Inhale, sweeping your arms up and over. Exhale, bending at the hips, forward fold, reaching for your toes, your heels, your ankles, or your shin, whatever is more comfortable for you. Inhale as you come up. Exhale, bringing your heels to meet for a butterfly pose. You can use blocks underneath your hips on each side for modification. Keeping your back straight, you can rest your hands on your knees or hold on to your feet. Then come to lay down on your back, bringing both knees to your chest. Give yourself a nice little hug right here. When you're ready, take both knees and lay them to the right, keeping your knees bent, extending your left arm to the left, and then bringing your gaze to the left for a reclined supine twist. Repeat on the left side, extending your right arm to the right and looking to the right. When you're ready, bring your knees to chest, and as you exhale, straighten out your legs and let your arms hang to the side. Or place your left hand over your heart and your right hand over your power center, your core, your belly button, so you can feel your breath and your heartbeat, bringing calmness to yourself in this moment. And when you're ready, turn onto one side, placing your hand on the ground in front of you, pushing up to a seated cross-legged position, like we did in the beginning. Smile at yourself. You did a great job. Namaste.